I am the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So today, a Necron patrol is out wandering around doing its patrol things, and they run into a group of tyranids doing tyranid things. So, gonna be a little bit of a Necron defense, but they'll probably definitely want to go out and kill some bugs, so I guess we'll see what happens. Okay, got a nice 4x4 area here. The Necrons will be on this side, probably occupying mainly that bigger ruin over there. This line of dice is where the Gene Stealers and Broodlord will start out. And the Tyranids, the rest of the Tyranids anyway, will start out on this side of the ruined buildings. Alright, so here we have today's Tyranid force, led by this Hive Tyrant. He knows Onslaught and Catalyst. We also have a Tyranid Prime. Two Broodlords, who both know Onslaught. Two 10-man groups of Gene Stealers. A 3-man group. I love saying 3-man when they're Tyranids. A 3-man group of Tyranid Warriors, and then a 4-man group of Tyranid Warriors. Some Spine Fists, a Stranglethorn Cannon, or a Barb Strangler, the one that goes with the Tyranid Warriors. Then we have two Trigons that'll be burrowing for a little while, and a Tyrannifex with the Acid Spray. So that's what we got for Tyranids. So here we have today's Necron Patrol, led by this Overlord. It does not have a Resurrection Orb, which is good because I always forget about him anyway. We have a 10-man group of warriors, 5 with the Gauss Reaper, 5 with the Gauss Blaster, 10 of the Immortals with Testa Carbines, two 3-man groups of the Scorpack Destroyers with Plasma Sights. I just recently reread the rules on these, and yeah, hopefully they'll help them from getting shot. Although against Tyranids, that's not much of a problem. But 8-man blob of Lich-Guard with the sword and board, the Hyperphase sword and something else, some sort of a shield. I always just say sword and board because it just seems easier and it makes more sense. 3 Canoptic Wraiths with Particle Casters and Vicious Claws. A Hexmark Destroyer that'll be wandering around in the these guys don't have an oubliette, but wherever they hang out when they're not actively on the field. A Technomancer. And 2 Locust Heavy Destroyers with the Enmitic Exterminators. Hopefully these guys can pull something off and kill a whole lot of bugs. I'm always going to vote for the Necrons, so I hope these guys win. Alright, let's set these guys up. We're going to roll to see who goes first, and this should be an excellent fucking game. Alright, so the Gene Stealers and Broodlords, their Vanguard deployment starting 9 inches away. Then the Hive Tyrant, the squad of 4 Tyranid Warriors, Tyrannifex, the Tyranid Prime, and the other Tyranid Warriors. The Trigons are doing their burrowing thing. So the Necrons actually won the roll-off, so they get to go first. So with that in mind, I deployed these guys thinking more of like an offense rather than a defense like I had originally planned. So it's got Scorpex at the front and both of these 2 breaches. And Immortals behind these guys, Warriors next to these guys with the Technomancer behind. Both heavy destroyers up on the 2nd floor of these 2 ruined buildings. The Lich Guard back here, kind of protecting the Overlord. And then the Wraiths over there, gonna try and flank around to the right. I don't know, that's the hope. These guys get to go first, so we'll start with their movement. Alright, so the Wraiths have come around on that far side. Both sets of Scorpex and their Plasma Sights just moved up to confront these Gene Stealers. And then the Immortals just moved up closer to the breach so more of them could see out. Everybody else just stay where they are. I really feel like doing a patrol with a Catan was probably something. Yeah, the Necrons probably don't do that. Doesn't seem very smart to me. So no Catan shards, so no need for that. No psychers, because no Catan shards. So that'll take us to my favorite phase of all time, which is Necron shooting. I expect a lot of dead Gene Stealers here in about a minute or three. Good times. Okay, so the Warriors and the Locust Heavy Destroyer here managed to kill off 7 of these Gene Stealers. And then 7 of the Immortals were able to see the Gene Stealers. And then this Heavy Destroyer, along with the Wraiths over there, they managed to kill off 8 of these Gene Stealers, which was super awesome. Alright, so the charge phase, the happy phase. These Scorpex here are going to charge into these Gene Stealers. And these Scorpex are going to charge into these Gene Stealers. Alright, well, both sets of Scorpex made their charges. Both sets of Scorpex completely annihilated the Gene Stealers that were there, so that's always a happy thing on the first turn. Alright, well, that's going to make it to Tyranid turn, so let's see if they can turn around this loss. And they've got a Tyrannifex and 2 Trigons still, so it's possible. So the Broodlords aren't really interested in going against the Scorpex. This one's heading towards the Warriors. This one might have made a wrong decision, but it's going towards the Wraiths. The Tyranid Prime and the Warriors over here advanced to get up. Tyrannifex moved over towards the Scorpex. The Warriors and the Hive Tyrant have moved up towards the Scorpex over here. So for the Psychic phase, the Hive Tyrant is going to try and manifest Catalyst on these Tyranid Warriors here. Goes off on a 6. That is most definitely a 6. So it does succeed. These guys, I don't know, is it a bird now? Are they catalyzed? Yeah, we're gonna go with that. 5-0 feel no pain essentially, so yay! Maybe they won't die. A bunch of these guys do have guns, so let's get that out of the way. So I'd say that the Tyranid shooting was kind of successful. The Tyrannifex did manage to kill off all of the Scorpex destroyers. But these guys dumped everything they had into these Scorpex and only did 1 point of damage to one guy. Tyrannid dice are fickle apparently. Alright, so the charge phase is going to be kind of ridiculous, but the Hive Tyrant and the Tyranid Warriors are going to charge into the Scorpex. The Tyrannifex is going to charge into the Plasma Sight. The Broodlord is going to charge into the Warriors. And this Broodlord is going to charge into the Wraiths. I think that both the Plasma Sight and this Broodlord are about to be pleasantly surprised. Well, I think the Plasma Sight's probably about to be unpleasantly surprised, but let's face it, the Broodlord's about to be unpleasantly surprised as well, I think. I'll put my money on the Wraiths. Alright, so the 4-man group of Tyranid Warriors did not make the charge. Everybody else made their charge. So the Hive Tyrant killed most of these guys. Killed 2, got the other one down to 1. Suffered a couple points of damage in return. It wasn't a lot. Broodlord suffered a couple points of damage in Overwatch, but killed 4 of the warriors. The Tyrannifex most definitely killed the Plasmacite. So this was kind of funny. The Wraiths actually did a point of damage in Overwatch. Made all of their invulnerable saves against the Broodlord. And then did just enough damage to kill it. Like I definitely feel like I saw that coming. That was all of it, so. Definitely a good attempt on the Tyranid's part there. They definitely, the Hive Tyrant definitely messed up that Scorpex squad over there. Alright, well that'll make it the Necron turn, so movement. Alright, so the Wraiths have been sent up the side here to go after the Warriors and the Tyranid Prime. The Immortals have moved out of the building to get better shots on pretty much everything at this point. The Technomancer was able to reanimate one of the Warriors, who then fell back. And the Lichguard and Overlord mob are heading over towards there. And then we drop the hex mark in 10 inches behind these Tyranid Warriors. I'm kind of hoping those guys will not be standing there after this happy Necron shooting phase. The 2 heavy destroyers were able to kill off 3 of the Tyranid Warriors back here. Hexmark Destroyer did a little bit of damage to one of them, but was unable to kill it. The Wraiths didn't do any damage to the Tyranid Warriors and with their particle casters, which was disappointing. But that's okay because it's charging time. So the Wraiths are going to multi-charge into the Tyranid Prime and the Tyranid Warriors. And the Lichguard are going to charge into the Broodlord. And we still have combat with the Scorpec and the Hive Tyrant. Alright, everybody made their charges. Nobody suffered any damage in Overwatch. So the Wraiths managed to kill off 2 of the Warriors and lost 1 of their guys in return. The Lichguard did they did 4 damage to the Broodlord and lost 2 Lichguard in return. And the Scorpec managed to get off 1 wound on this guy, doing 3 damage to him, so did a little bit of damage to him before he died. So morale happens, Plasmacite gets destroyed, and we go to the Tyranids for movement. So a whole lot of people got a whole lot closer. This Hive Tyrant got closer. The Tyrannifex got a whole lot closer to these Immortals. The 2 Trigons popped out behind the Tyrannifex. These guys are going to stay in combat, as is the Broodlord over here. So there's not a whole lot of need for this Broodlord with his Psyker spell thingy. So he's just going to do Smite, which will go into the Lichguard around him. That's about the funniest thing I've seen today. So he perils, takes a point of damage. He only has 1 health. He's dead. That's awesome. Okay. I think I've literally only seen that like a couple of times maybe in the time that I've been doing this. That was super awesome. Alright, so I guess the Hive Tyrant's gonna duplicate it and hopefully not perils. His smite will hit this heavy destroyer up here. Alright, that's not Snake Eyes, so D3 damage. 1 damage. That's better than no damage. Alright, so the Tyranid shooting phase. Alright, so the Hive Tyrant does a couple points of damage to this heavy destroyer with his Stranglethorn cannon. The Tyrannofex used its acid spray on these guys and only managed to kill a couple of them. This guy's Bioelectric Pulse. Almost none of those hit, and these guys save because they're awesome. So the charge phase. So the Hive Tyrant is going to charge into the Lich Guard. The Tyrannofex is going to absolutely charge into these Immortals. This Trigon is going to charge into these Wraiths, who are already in combat with the Tyranid Prime and the last Tyranid. Well, there's a Tyranid Warrior here. I totally forgot about this Tyranid Warrior over here. He had moved over towards the hex mark to get closer to it. And he's going to charge into it. I'm going to say something corny. So we're going to try and charge with this Trigon. So we're going to turn him from a Trigon into a Dugon. So I think by making a joke about it made it roll badly because it sure didn't do, but it did try. The Hive Tyrant also did not make it in. Tyrannofex absolutely did, but it only managed to kill 2 of the Immortals. And neither the Tyranid Prime nor the last remaining Tyranid Warrior could kill off the Wraith over here, but the Wraith did manage to kill off the Tyranid Warrior. And the other last Tyranid Warrior that was on this side did try and charge into the hex mark and completely died to Overwatch. These things are nasty in Overwatch. I really do love hex marks. They're just such nifty little awesome dudes. Okay, well, that's gonna take us on over to the Necron turn. So the Hexmark is moving up closer to the Trigon here. The Wraith is going to remain in combat with the Tyranid Prime. These Immortals have fallen back. The Lich Guard have moved up. The Technomancer managed to reanimate 3 of the Warriors, which put them back up to the 10. They have also just kind of moved up closer-ish to this Hive Tyrant. So the happy phase, Necron shooting. Well, so the Warriors did a couple points of damage to the Hive Tyrant. And this Locust Heavy Destroyer managed to do a couple points of damage to the Tyrannofex. And sadly, that's really all that managed to happen in the shooting phase. Tyrannofex had some really good saves this turn. Charge phase will be the Lich Guard into the Hive Tyrant. And then combat over there between the Wraith and the Tyranid Prime. The Lich Guard definitely made their charge. Got the Hive Tyrant down to 1 health. It killed 2 of them with its monstrous scything talons. Over here, the Canoptic Wraith did a little bit of damage to the Tyranid Prime. The Prime almost completely killed the Wraith, so that'll probably happen here in a second next turn. Alright, well, that's going to make it the Tyranid turn. Alright, so the Tyranids, the Trigons were the only things that moved this turn. The blue one here is going to go after the Hexmark. And the one on the other side is going to go after the Wraith that is still in combat with the Prime. We'll do some Tyranid shooting. There were a whole lot of misses here, but really the only thing of note was that the Tyrannofex did the acid spray on the Immortals and killed 6 of them. Just melted 6 of them into nothingness. It was super awesome. That'll take us to the charging part. The Tyrannofex into these 2 last Immortals. This Trigon is definitely going to be a Dugon and make it into the Wraith this time. This Trigon is going to make it into the Hexmark, I am sure. And then Hive Tyrant, Lich Guard, and Tyranid Prime, Wraith Combat. So everybody made their charges. This Trigon killed off the Hexmark. This Trigon killed off the Wraith. The Tyranids killed off the 2 Immortals. The Hive Tyrant did manage to kill a Lich Guard, but died. It was sad. As a Necron guy, it was super awesome. I love seeing big creatures die to little dudes like Lich Guard and whatnot. Puts a happy little smile on my cold dead Necron heart. So that'll make it to Necron turn. Alright, so the Heavy Destroyer on the right regained the health from Living Metal. And the Lich Guard just kind of hopped back into that breach area there. Probably waiting for that Tyranids to come down their way. I don't know. So Necron shooting, the happiest phase. Alright, so the only ones that can really see the Tyranids to shoot at it are the 2 Heavy Destroyers. And between the 2 of them, they managed to do 1 point of damage. Alright, well, these guys aren't going to charge out there, so that is going to make it the Tyranid turn. Alright, so the Tyranid Prime and the 2 Trigons have advanced over towards this little corner of the world. And the Tyranids just moved over a little bit so it could get a much better line of sight for its acid spray. None of these guys are Psychers. Just straight to shooting. The Tyranids was able to kill off one of the Lich Guard with its acid spray, while the Trigon's Bioelectric Pulse managed to kill off 2 of these warriors. Well, the Tyranids is the only one that can charge, so it's going to charge into the Lich Guard. So I feel like the Necron dice kind of failed me at a really crucial time here because both of my Lich Guard massively failed their saves. So they're both dead, which is really unfortunate, since now there's a Tyranids poking its head into like my little bubble here. This is pretty uncool. Thankfully it is the Necron turn, but I'm gonna have to work really, really hard to kill this Tyranids off, and then there's still 2 Trigons at full health. This might be a struggle. So yeah, nobody's gonna move. The guy on the left regained his last health, so he's back up to full. I guess the Overlord will give the Warriors My Will Be Done, +1 to hit. And we'll go into the shooting phase. Oh shit. Gotta roll for reanimation. Get these guys the Warriors. I'll do that. Well, yeah, I'll be back in a second. Like literally a second for you guys. So the Technomancer was unfortunately only able to bring back 1 of the Necron Warriors. Again, 1's better than 0, but it's not as good as 2. So Necron shooting it is. So all the Warriors and the Heavy Destroyers dumped everything they had into the Tyranids and managed to do 2 points of damage to it, which is just crazy ridiculous considering how much dice I just rolled. I'm kind of agonizing over whether I want the Warriors to charge in and just kind of tie it up. But I just don't think these guys are going to be able to do the amount of damage to the rest of these units to be able to kill them off. So I'm going to gamble and hope maybe I can kill it in Overwatch. I don't know. I'll let the Tyranids go. Alright, so the Tyranids stayed where it is. This Trigon just moved up. And then this Trigon and the Tyranid Prime advanced forward towards the remaining Necrons. The lack of Strikers almost makes me a little sad. But that's okay, because Tyranid shooting it is. Well, the Tyranids managed to kill off 4 of the Necron warriors, which is sad. Neither of the Trigons were able to get anything going, though. You win some, you lose some. So the charge phase. So the Tyranids will charge into the warriors. Yeah, there's really not a lot of room back here going on. We'll just do the Tyranids into the warriors for now. So I was trying to leave enough room for the Trigon to get in next turn, so I kind of opened up the Tyranids to 2 separate heroic interventions. It did make it charge on the warriors, but the Overlord and the Technomancer both did heroic interventions. They only managed to do 3 or 4 points of damage to it. It did kill 2 of the warriors. Sad face. I don't think I've ever done a heroic intervention on the channel before, so that was cool. That'll make it the Necron turn. The Technomancer reanimated 1 of the warriors, and then the Technomancer and the warriors fell back away from the Tyranids. The Overlord will remain in combat with it, and the 2 heavy destroyers are just going to remain where they're at. So that'll take us to the shooting phase. Yay, Necron shooting. Well, the Necron dice aren't really cooperating right now. Between the 2 heavy destroyers, they managed to do 3 points of damage to the blue Trigon. Not looking real good right at the moment. That'll take us to the charge phase. Nobody's charging, but the Overlord and the Tyranids are going to continue their fight. Well, I didn't roll a critical failure. I mean, it's really hard to roll a critical failure in 40k, but if this was D&D, I rolled a 2. The Overlord failed to do anything at all against the Tyranids, and suffered 4 damage in return, almost dead. And it's the Tyranid's turn. Things are looking dire for the Necrons at this point. So yeah, Tyranid movement. The Trigons have gotten as close as they possibly can to the heavy destroyers for the most part. And the Prime is moved up as far as it can. The Tyranids is going to stay in combat with the Overlord. So we'll do Tyranid shooting. So this Trigon managed to completely destroy the heavy destroyer that used to be here. This heavy destroyer managed to save against the blue Trigon. No charges for these guys, but the Tyranids will probably kill the Overlord this turn. So with the mighty sweep of its powerful 4 limbs, I think, the Tyranids just decimated the Overlord. Negative health points. Alright, well that'll make it the Necron turn. Such as it is. I don't think these guys have a Hail Mary left, so maybe they can pull something out. I don't know. We'll see what they can do here. The Technomancer, his animation finally did something awesome, and he was able to reanimate 3 Necron warriors. Nobody's going to move, so we're just going to hop into the Necron shooting phase. Hopefully these guys can shoot better this turn. So I was feeling the excitement. I got 3 warriors back. These guys might actually roll well. Nobody decided to move. So everybody shot at the Tyranids. While the warriors did a really good job, they did 3 damage. This guy didn't do so well and did no damage. Technomancer is the only one really that has any melee, and he kind of sucks at it, so that's it for the Necron turn. That'll take it over to the Tyranids. The Tyrannifex has moved to the back of the table here to make room for the Trigons to get into the courtyard area. The Tyranid Prime advanced up to kind of watch the show. Alright, so we're going to do some Tyranid shooting. Tyranid dice aren't really liking me tonight either. So the Trigons, they dumped everything they had into the Heavy Destroyer, and nothing happened there. Tyrannifex dumped everything it had into the Warriors, and managed to kill 4 of them. So, charging. So both Trigons will charge into the 3 remaining Warriors, and the Tyrannifex will charge into the Technomancer. Well, everybody made their charges. Definitely did not suffer any overwatch. I wish I could say that the Warriors and the Technomancer put up a great fight, and it took a lot to kill them, and that would be a lie. They died real fast. It was real unfortunate. Well, there is one Necron left, and it is his turn. So this Locust Heavy Destroyer, probably gonna die, but what's he gonna do? Okay, so the Heavy Destroyer has moved over to the other side of the Prime, and is definitely gonna shoot at it. Well, he only managed to do 2 points of damage to the Prime, which does not kill it. Which will then sadly make it the Tyranid turn. This might be the last time that this guy is alive for this game, so here's hoping he makes a lot of save rolls. So Tyranid movement. You know, for some really big boys, the Trigons can really move far. 10 inches is a long way. They were over here, and now they're over behind this Heavy Destroyer. The Tyranid Prime moved over in front of it, and the Tyrannifex got as close as it could. Alright, Heavy Destroyer, I need you to save a lot for this Tyranid shooting phase. I had a whole lot of hope, like a whole lot of hope. He managed to save against both Trigon's attacks, but yeah, the acid spray is what did him in. That Tyrannifex really does some nasty stuff. Alright, well that means that the Tyranids have won this game. The Necrons are probably going to be looking for a lost patrol now. That's a future idea, I suppose. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. Games have been a little harder to put on lately with the new job and crazy stress and all that. Life, it happens. It's a weird thing. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.